All right, how's it going, everyone? It's Triple T here, and I made it through my first semester of medical school. I personally can believe it that I've made it and I've survived. It was a lot of work, as one would expect, and it's been a very rewarding journey thus far. So I wanted to just take a moment to reflect on it up to this point. So I don't know about any of you, but I went to medical school with the attitude of I had a 3.83 GPA at a very good STEM school, 513 MCAT. I'm going to be at the top of my class. This attitude's very harmful. I eventually learned to set it aside. It took some time. What did it for me specifically was Pre-Com 2A. That was a very rough exam for everyone. The average was like a 69. I spoke to most people and they're just like, yeah, I failed that too. The keyword is too. It just was not good. And it was in that moment where I just took a moment to sit back, relax, and reflect. It's really okay if you're not at the top of the class. It doesn't matter as much how well you did in undergrad. What matters is what you do with your time now. And so, really, I'm doing decently in my classes right now. Like, I did decently my first semester. I might not get honors, but that's totally okay with me. Because at the end, I am trusting the process that I will ultimately become Dr. Triple T. And I'm going to continue this attitude of self-improvement throughout my time at medical school. And I'm going to keep myself at a much more humble level throughout my preclinical years, without a doubt. My favorite class in my first semester of medical school is, without a doubt, OMM. Not because I got to model several times, but because I just find that it's a very interesting way that you can improve a patient's clinical manifestations and some of their tenderness. I personally have chronic pain in my lower back, my neck, my hips are absolutely destroyed. And this also brings me to a reason that anatomy was my least favorite class. So I found that we were kind of standing around for 4 hours straight, and it was exacerbating my chronically present back pain, just horrible all the time. I feel like I sound so negative, but this is just my personal experience. I also didn't like anatomy too much because I felt like we were sometimes just idling around, not really doing anything. Especially there was this one prosection station that was self-led. So it's just like you'll have like a clinical case kind of laminated, pinned to the wall, something like that, or look in a textbook, labeled as cadaver. I didn't find it that useful. I just felt like I could have done something like that during my own time. And I would have gotten much better effect out of that. I remembered when we had the evaluation forms, they couldn't even, I don't think that we even were able to fill any qualitative information, and I was very disappointed. Unless I'm confusing that with peer instruction, which was something that I personally was not the biggest fan of, because I felt like peer instruction, we could have taken some time to answer the question on our own first and then consulted our podmates. However, I will say that I did like about peer instruction that we got to interact with them and get closer to them. The pod bonding was definitely great this semester. Like, my pod, we went out to Cast Iron 3 after Pre-Comp 3. It was a lot of fun. Delicious Korean barbecue. Really good time. We had a lot of information to cover in our 18 weeks together. 15 if you count, will exclude the exams. So this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think Block 3 was my favorite, particularly because of the pharmacology. So the antibiotics were indeed a lot of memorization. Memorization is not my personal forte, but when it wasn't memorization heavy, where it was more reliant upon intuition, I found it a lot of fun to piece together the elements. Like, for example, how we have stuff like renal excretion, being coupled with treating urinary tract infections. Like when it's intuitive and it makes sense, it feels really rewarding to piece it together. I also really liked the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. I thought it all made a lot of sense. I just, for some reason, chemistry, biochemistry, something that I thoroughly enjoy. And pharmacology just felt very, very reliant upon it. For some reason, even though I was kind of trashing like my memorization abilities and skills, even the stuff with the nerves, I actually really enjoyed that. And all the different senses, like for example, vestibular, eyesight, like I don't know why I really enjoyed the eyesight too now in retrospect. I would say that my least favorite block of material was block 2. I've suppressed it from my memory. After I took Comp 2, I didn't know what went on. I just kind of, okay, on to block 3. But yeah, I really enjoyed learning the material in medical school without a doubt. And I look forward to PPOM 1, 2, and 3. We all have our highs and lows in our educational careers. So I'm not the utmost comfortable talking about my lows on camera. I feel like it's something that people best do anonymously, but I will say that my personal high this semester was getting elected to the morale committee. So it might not sound like that much to some people, but from where I come from, my personal experiences, I remembered back in grade school, I dealt with a lot of poop from people. People who just weren't very nice to me. There was also a part of me that both admired and loathed the popular kids back then. Like, I wanted to be liked and respected by my classmates, but at the same time, I just look at these kids and I'm just like, what's wrong with them? They seem kind of mean. And then, come the time I got into undergrad, I started attending there. It was such a large environment. I was simply shocked. I just couldn't really acclimate even throughout all those 4 years. I never really found my fit, but here, everyone is just so much nicer. It doesn't feel really cliquey at all. Like, there are, groups that form, of course. That just seems to be the course of nature. But everyone seems to really interconnect through these groups perfectly fine. I personally found that I was able to just walk from group to group, and everyone's just always so nice. And really, it seemed to manifest. People seem to really entrust me with this position where I can help plan social events, community service, and pull on campus climate. Like, after all that I'd been through, I just feel like I had really made it, and I really appreciate my classmates for giving me that opportunity. So definitely a big highlight of my experience. It is very safe to say that my classmates were a part of my highlight from this first semester. Like I said, I really love all of you. But another one I would say was definitely the Rocksteady Boxing program. So for those of you who don't know, didn't see my other video, it's basically this boxing program for people with Parkinson's disease because exercise is shown to slow the progression of it. So I would get up at 5:45 in the morning for these classes. I would be, up early, productive early. It was something that was really able to get me going. And I felt like I was participating in a very nice cause, something that's particularly kept me very happy throughout my semester, and something I'm going to continue to do. I believe that because I'm in Group A, I wouldn't be able to do the 8 a.m. classes in my second year, but I would be motioning to have my group switched, so this way I can continue my cycle of being productive. So I would recommend for some of you who are just having a tough time getting going, try going to bed earlier and waking up earlier. It really makes a world of a difference. I remember when I was playing Xbox till like 2 in the morning, stuff like that just really doesn't do it for me anymore. I just feel like I'm doing so much more with my life when I'm getting up early, getting out there, doing something, studying. It's really eye-opening. I did have a very good time my first semester of med school. Who actually says that? Good time in med school? What is that? Never heard of such a thing. Just kidding. But anyway, there's always room for improvement. So, namely, I do wish that there were more structured or like impromptu social events on and off campus. So, for example, we did have a bar outing after one exam, the second one. We only did that once. Once is not nearly enough, in my opinion. I think that we should be spending more time together, getting close to each other. It's very good for the mental health, that kind of thing. And even during, it doesn't just have to be after exams, celebrating those victories. We should also be doing stuff like movie nights, because we're going to be spending these next 4 years together, and we should really make the best of them. I personally feel like I couldn't have gone through my first semester of medical school all by myself. I know that I can't apply my perspective to everybody else and expect them to think the same way, but I just think that it would truly be beneficial to a lot of people. And so I hope that in the future I can help to plan these social events in advance, like before people start getting overwhelmed by comp week stuff. And maybe it'll all work out in the end. Overall, I would give my first semester at medical school a 9 out of 10. I will be sending out a Google form sometime to my classmates, and I will be inviting them to share a little bit about their perspective. So, yeah, keep a lookout in the group me or whatever. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to me already and you enjoy my content, please do. And hit the bell so you don't miss any videos whenever those come out. And so, my classmates, enjoy your winter break. I shall see you soon.